Coming up on Good Morning Waverly, we have some furry friends on set here to talk to us about the importance of animal adoption.
And John Hennings from the Shell Rock Clinic is here to tell us how you and your family can avoid some common health problems.
And will we continue to see warm temperatures this week? I'll let you know in our full forecast. You're watching Good Morning Waverly.
Happy Friday and Good Morning Waverly.
Good Morning Waverly, I'm Nicole Lyons.
And I'm Kelsey Bemis, and we'll begin the show with some look at temperatures around the state this weekend. Now on Saturday, you can see a high of 61 degrees in Des Moines. Davenport also in the low 60s with a high of 62. Both those will have lows around 38 degrees. Sioux City will see a high of 59 with a low of 33, and Cedar Rapids also a high of 59 with a low of 35. And as we continue into Sunday, temperatures will be similar. We'll see a high of 62 degrees in Des Moines. Davenport a little cooler, 58 degrees. Sioux City will see a high of 64 with a low of 44, and Cedar Rapids cooling down just a little more to 57 degrees with a high of 37. We'll continue to look at your full forecast later in the show.
A 20-year-old Clarksville native has been found guilty on 2 counts for the death of a Waverly resident 3 years ago. Alex Potus was convicted this week on the charges of vehicular homicide by way of intoxication and reckless driving. This led to the death of 18-year-old Joshua Young in the March of 2010. Vehicular homicide by way of reckless driving carries up to 10 years in prison, where by way of intoxication carries up to 25. For the full story, check out the Waverly newspaper's website.
Following a March decision by the Waverly Shell Rock Board of Education to collect bids for a safe room, the board discussed a building plan at their Monday meeting. The project is estimated to cost the district $1.3 million, on top of a $1.4 million grant from FEMA. The board discussed ways to cut the district's cost on Monday. The plan also listed the features that could be added or removed from the base bid.
Following a life filled with singing, church music, one Waverly native will be honored by Wartburg College for his work. On June 1st and 2nd, the college will be honoring 75-year-old John Ilvisaker with a music-filled festival in his honor. The college also recently awarded Ilvisaker with an honorary degree for his work. In his career, he has written at least 1,000 songs, had several anthologies published, and has sung concerts and led workshops in at least 49 of the 50 states.
One man was killed and 3 others were injured following a 2-vehicle crash last Thursday. The accident took place on Iowa Highway 188 and was caused by the unusual spring snowstorm. 84-year-old Edward Eilers of Clarksville was later pronounced dead after his vehicle was struck by Joanna Heidemann, who lost control of her Ford Escape. Heidemann's son and Eilers' wife were also hurt in the accident. All 4 were taken to the hospital with injuries.
May is Motorcycle Safety Awareness Month, and the Waverly Police Department is bringing awareness to the public about how to be safer when driving a motorcycle or sharing the road with one. It comes in part with their traffic safety awareness and education program they put on throughout the year with the changing seasons. Motorcycle accidents aren't very prominent in the Waverly community, but it is something people need to be aware of.
For the car drivers, I would say certainly be looking for a smaller item. If you're looking for the motorcycle, when you're checking your blind spots, actually making a physical head check, not just relying on your mirrors. Look for the smaller objects. You will see the vehicles, but you have to be paying attention and looking specifically for the motorcycles.
And he did say for the motorcyclists to make sure you're wearing all the properly protective gear, helmets, pants, no tank tops, no t-shirts. Just make sure you're always driving safe.
All right.
Coming up on Good Morning Waverly, we'll talk to Barb Dunnicky and her furry friends about how to adopt pets of your own.
And we'll have your full week forecast coming up next after the break. You're watching Good Morning Waverly. Welcome back to Good Morning Waverly. The time is currently 7:06. Now tomorrow we can expect temperatures in the 60s with a relative humidity of 45% and a wind coming in from the northwest at about 21 miles per hour, dew point 35 degrees. Now as we carry into Sunday, it will cool off a little bit. We'll have a relative humidity of 38% there, wind coming in from the northwest, slight wind 9 miles per hour, and the dew point at 31 there as well. And as we look at some temperatures around the state, we can see that Des Moines will have a high of 61 degrees with a low of 38. Davenport also similar temperatures, a high of 62, also with a low of 38 degrees. Sioux City will be a little cooler, 59 will be the high there, and Cedar Rapids will also have a high of 59 degrees. And as we carry into Sunday, we will see similar highs there as well. Des Moines will have a high of 62, low of 42. Davenport slightly cooler with a high of 58 degrees there. Sioux City 64, and Cedar Rapids will have a high of 57 with a low of 37 degrees. And as we carry on throughout the week, Sunday, like I said, we'll see a high of 62, should be sunny there. Monday, we'll see a high of 71 degrees, also sunny. Tuesday, we'll see a high of 86 degrees, the warmest we'll see all week. No rain expected there. And Wednesday, we'll have a high in the upper 70s, but there will be some slight chances of precipitation there. So hopefully good temperatures as we carry into the week.
Here at Good Morning Waverly, there are few things we love more than our furry friends.
Here with us now is Barb Dunneke from the Waverly Pet Rescue to talk about the importance of pet adoption and how you can become a pet owner yourself. Barb, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for inviting us. We appreciate it.
First, can you kind of explain who we have here?
Well, you are holding Zazu, and he is like a Turkish van mix. That's what we're calling him with his markings there. Then we have his brother, Bonze. And their names are from the Lion King, in case you wondered where we got Zazu and Bonze. Those are Lion King names. They're cute little white and orange tabby kitties. We kind of call Zazu more of a Turkish van mix. And that little dot right there on the top of his shoulder right there, if he was a purebred Turkish van, that would be called the right-hand thumbprint of God. That's what the Turks call the Turkish vans. That's a sign of good luck. And what I have here is Mystery, and she's a little tortoiseshell, and she's a very tiny girl because she's a year old and they're only 5 months. So she's not going to be very big. She's probably full grown. And you're being wiggly. Yes, you are. And she was just spayed today, and they were just neutered last week. So they're completely vetted, except for they both need one more little shot. Since we just got them, they didn't have their first sets of shots. But all of our animals, unless they're too young, are completely vetted when they get to go to their new homes.
Okay. And what's the adoption process? What do people
Well, best way to adopt our kitties is to go to our webpage, which is www.wpr.petfinder.com, and that'll get you right to our Pet Finder page for Waverly Pet Rescue. And if you're interested in cats or dogs, you just go to that first page and scroll down a little bit. It'll say click on available cats, click on available dogs, click on rabbits, because occasionally we have a couple of rabbits, which we do right now. We have some bunnies. And then they can scroll down through all of the animals. Right now we have close to 40 kitties that are available for adoption before the kitten season hits. And then we have about 25 dogs. And so they just go down a little farther on that first page and it'll say click on online application, and that's the quickest and easiest way. And then you go through the application process. And then we are not a shelter, so we don't have one facility that you can go look at the animals. They are almost all in foster homes. We do have some kitties at Petco in Waterloo and at PetSmart in Waterloo. We're partners with the Petco Foundation and the PetSmart Charities. So they can go see them there. And then we are also partners with the Barking Lot. Mystery, what are you doing? We're also partners with the Barking Lot in Waterloo, and it's a boarding and daycare facility for dogs at 1921 Hawthorne Street in Waterloo, and they can go check out some of our foster dogs at that location.
All right, and really quick, could you give us the phone number that people can call if they're interested?
It is 319-352-4430.
All right, well, thank you. And you said you had some at PetSmart.
Yes,
and as we understand, is there an adoption weekend this weekend?
This weekend, we have an adoption weekend at Petco.
Okay.
So Petco is across from the Waterloo Walmart in the Crossroads shopping area, and it's from 10 to 5 each day. And we'll have lots of kitties and hopefully a few dogs will be able to show up this weekend. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's a good way to get some of the shelter animals, into good homes, and we rescue from throughout Northeast Iowa. So it's not just Waverly and where we get the kitties and the dogs from. We are a Northeast Iowa-based shelter or rescue. So,
why should people adopt their pets versus buying them?
Well, we have such an overpopulation of pets, and a lot of the dogs that you see available for adoption or for purchase, in pet stores are puppy mill dogs. And so it's much better, to give the strays and the homeless and maybe the abused, anything that we have been taking in And all the rescue shelters and the humane societies, that type of thing, those animals don't really have a chance. And it's the best way to get them adopted is, to just visit one of those places, and adoption is the option, as we say. Until there are none, please adopt one. So they aren't blue, why not adopt two? So.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us. We're so happy to have you and your furry friends here as well.
Thank you very much. It's their TV debut.
And we can see these over the weekend as well?
Yes, they will be at Petco this weekend, these 3.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Coming up after the break, John Hennings from the Shellrock Clinic will talk to us about how to stay safe this summer.
And don't forget your summer reading list. The Waverly Public Library will be here to tell us what books they just can't put down. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to Good Morning Waverly. With the temperatures getting warmer, that means increased chances of getting heat exhaustion and dehydration.
John Hennings, a nurse practitioner from the Shellrock Clinic, is here with us this morning to talk about how to have a safe summer.
And thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
Now, first, one of the things that is important is sunscreen, obviously. Can you kind of say which are some of the most effective brands, or if it matters on the brand?
Yeah, I don't know if brand matters as much as the strength of the sunscreen. So a lot of times when people go out and buy their sunscreen, they'll buy like an SPF 2 or an SPF 4. That's really not the safest screen protection you want, and that SPS stands for sun protection factor. So the higher the number, the more protection there is from the sun. A minimum should be at 15, but actually with little kids or people with fair skin, you really should be looking at a 30 or higher, and that's going to help prevent the sunburn, which is also going to help prevent some possible skin cancers later in life. So brand, not so important. Strength is what's more important.
Now, there are some people that believe that anything above a certain SPF isn't effective, like say above a 45 SPF. Is that true, or does like 100 SPF, is that like the optimal strength?
I don't know if I have the best answer for that, but I've heard those same things. Someone says, well, if I use more than a 30, it's the same as using a 30. There are some screen protections that will be thicker, especially if you put like on a straight zinc. That's going to block everything. So there's probably some truth that the higher the number, it's going to still have a little bit better factor to it, but I really couldn't tell you if that's, scientifically wise, if that's all the way true. But again, if we're looking at a minimum of 15 or 30 for most people, you're doing pretty good with your skin protection there.
All right, and how far in advance of going outside should people put on sunscreen, and how often should they reapply?
Yeah, great question. So it depends on what you're doing. You obviously want it in your skin and absorb before you're really going to go outside. And so if you're just outside doing casual stuff, yard work or going for a walk or whatever else, you're probably not going to be as sweaty, and you're probably not going to lose some of that protection. But if you're swimming, if you're doing vigorous work where you're becoming really sweaty, you're going to lose that, and you're going to want to reapply that as often as, every hour to every 3 hours, depends on how much wet or how wet you get in your workout. So it's going to depend on the activity you're doing, but more is okay. You don't want to do less. You really would like to do more to get that skin protection.
All right.
And during the summers, heat can get up to 100 degrees or higher. What are some of the symptoms of heat exhaustion?
A lot of the heat exhaustion, people will start to feel kind of shaky and tired, a lot of irritability, and then some confusion, actually. People will not be able to remember what they're doing, or maybe not remember someone's name. I mean, it will almost seem like a mild stroke-like symptoms. And when those things start, that's your clue that there's something not going on right. Along with that, if you don't get that far along into the process, but when you're going to do your stuff, you've noticed, gosh, I haven't gone to the bathroom as frequently as I normally go to the bathroom. That's a good sign that, hey, you're not putting enough fluid in, or you've lost too much fluid through perspiration, that you haven't had to use the urinary system to get that fluid out. That's another sign that you're really getting dehydrated.
Okay, and really quick, you kind of mentioned it there, dehydration, another issue. What are kind of some symptoms of that, and how can that be avoided? Yeah,
absolutely. So, again, making sure that you're drinking enough water is important. Everyone needs to drink a minimum of 64 ounces of non-caffeinated beverages. Water would be best, of course, but not everyone is a water fan. If you're a caffeine drinker, so if you drink coffee, if you drink soda pop, those kind of things, you really have to offset that with an equal amount of water. So if we have this base amount of 64 ounces of water, and then we're drinking lots of caffeine, we're going to have to add that in there. In the summer when it's hot, when the weather is changing, you actually need to increase that amount of water. So if normally you're drinking 64 ounces of water, but now you're going to go out and do a lot of exercise or some vigorous work, you may need to double that amount of water. And again, some of the symptoms are that confusion, the irritability, hot, red skin, but not moist. Get to the point that you can't even sweat anymore. Again, your urination is not the same. And some warning signs are, for boys it's easier maybe than girls, but you see that the concentration level of your urine is darker. Those are all signs that you're just really not putting enough water in the system.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us and giving us all these helpful hints.
Absolutely. Have a good day.
Coming up, we'll talk to Sue Van Hermer and Emily McClyman from the Waverly Public Library about some summer reading and family activities.
And find out what's new at the box office this weekend. You're watching Good Morning Waverly.
Summer is a great time to catch up on your reading list. Here with us now are Emily McClyman and Sue Van Hermer from the Waverly Public Library with their summer reading picks and programs. First, thank you guys so much for joining me. And to begin, you kind of have a few books laid out here. Can you kind of explain which ones you have here? Are these top ones for this summer?
I just have a couple of really fun picture books that I think kids would enjoy. Say Hello to Zorro, which is about a dog with a personality. And then poor Zorro, has to wear a Zorro suit, and he's so embarrassed. We just use these books for story time, and they are a hit.
Okay.
And I'm a teen librarian, so I have a YA book, and this is Ashfall by Mike Mullen, and it actually it starts in Cedar Falls, and it kind of goes around northeast Iowa, and it's about a super volcano erupts, and actually there is a real one in underneath Yellowstone, and it's kind of realistic. What would you do? It's really good. So.
Okay. And when it comes to summer reading, do you see an increase or a decrease in library visits when school gets out?
We see a different kind. During school, it's scheduled. A school class comes. In the summer, it's just all day, and it's great. We really encourage families, children to come to the library. We have a couple of really great programs that we
do.
For the younger folks, we have Dig Into Reading. I have this flyer, and you can come to the library and get it. It tells all the programs that we have for children. A new program that we have is on Tuesday afternoons, they can come and read to a dog. We're partnering with Pet Pals, and they can bring their favorite book, and they can read for 15 minutes to a dog from Pet Pals. We're excited about that.
Okay, and do you have some programs as well?
Yeah, also new this year, we kind of decided that 5th graders through 8th graders needed to have their own program instead of putting them with the younger or the older, so we're having one just for 5th through 8th and then also a 9th through 12th, and the theme for them is Beneath the Surface, and we have lots of cool programs like music concerts and laser tag and all sorts of neat things, so yeah, it'll be good.
All right, are there any books that you're particularly looking forward to coming out this summer?
Ooh, particularly looking forward to coming out. There's a series that starts with Divergent and then Insurgent, and then the third one in that series is going to come out this fall. Fall's a big time to release a lot of books. I don't know if any specific. There are lots of good ones that are coming out. Yeah.
And then real quick, how would you kind of encourage kids to continue to read throughout the summer?
Well, there have been studies that if children do not crack open a book, their reading skills decline. So we really encourage them to read anything and everything, and read for fun.
Yeah, let them just choose, and even if it's a graphic novel or a magazine or whatever, just get them to read something. So.
All right, well, thank you guys for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up next on Good Morning Waverly, The Great Gatsby has opened in theaters. We will give you our list of weekend movie picks you won't want to miss. Stay tuned for more after the break. Every girl in America will be drooling a little more after today. The dreamy Leonardo DiCaprio stars as Jay Gatsby in The Great Gatsby along with Tobey Maguire and Carey Mulligan. Maguire plays war veteran Nick Carraway, who becomes captivated by his millionaire neighbor Jay Gatsby and his mysterious past.
Also hitting the theaters today is Peoples, a production by Tyler Perry. Craig Robinson stars along with Kerry Washington and David Ann Greer Wade Walker, played by Robinson, makes an appearance at the People's Annual Reunion to ask for their daughter's hand in marriage. Walker soon realizes his stay is not as welcomed as he was hoping.
And personally, I haven't even heard of the Peoples.
I haven't either.
But I did go to the late night The Great Gatsby, and it's interesting. If you've read it,
looks good.
It's an interesting take on the book, so I enjoyed it.
Anything with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Exactly.
Yep.
Coming up tomorrow, May 11th, Bartles will be hosting their first ever Run for the Good Life 5K and 1 mile walk. The run will take place both on Bartles campus and around town. The run will begin at 9:30 with the walk beginning at 9:45. Registration is $18 per person and can be done up until the start of the event. We caught up with the planners of the event last week to see why they decided to start the 5K and walk.
We really wanted to have an event that brought some new people to our campus, and so that we can promote the good life at Bartles. We say that folks, before they came to Bartles, they had a good life, but once they come, their life is still good.
And for those looking for a different kind of run, join the Cedar Bend Humane Society this Sunday, May 12th, for their 4th annual Furry 5K run walk. Feel free to bring your own dog, but if you don't have a dog, you can run with one of the shelter dogs. The run walk will start at 7:30 a.m. and will go till 9:30 a.m. at Getaway Park Celebration Center in Cedar Falls. All proceeds go to making the lives of homeless animals better.
Also taking place is the 4th annual Health and Holistic Arts Fair on Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Stop by the center next to Miller True Value to see the variety of holistic, healthy living vendors. Admission is free and goodie bags will be passed out to the first 50 to walk through the door. And that's all the time that we have in this show. Thank you for joining us, and tune in next week for an all-new Good Morning Waverly.
Have a good day, Waverly.